Hey, what's up? It's Chris from Tiny Industrial, and it's winter. I had to break out my shearling jacket. That's how bad it is. I'm not here to talk about the winter though, but I am here to talk about a new book that I recently acquired. And this is by none other than Alexis Stevens and Christian Parsons. I've had the pleasure of meeting them at several tiny house shows back when that was a thing. They have written this book called The Beginner's Guide to Tiny Houses, and I just wanted to do a really quick book review. It is kind of an all-encompassing 20,000-foot view of what tiny house living is all about. It's really meant for, I think, somebody who's curious about tiny houses, who maybe watched some of the TV shows and is really into it. They do a really good job of going through all of the various aspects. But when I say all, I really was hard pressed to find anything that was light in here or that kind of glossed over anything. Most importantly, there's a sort of a questionnaire right up front here to see if tiny houses are even like a thing for you, because it's not for everybody. I have my tiny house here, which I know and love. There's a tour you can take of this thing, and I'll pop a link up top here to the tour of my tiny house. Alexis and Christian have incidentally been inside of this tiny house, and it was such the honor to have them visit me. They've gone up this staircase here. But yeah, they're awesome people. But tiny house living might not be the right thing for you. A book like this really goes a long way to helping you figure out whether it is or it isn't. You know, it talks about tiny house living with children. It talks about all the different types of tiny houses, stationary tiny houses, ones on wheels. Now, when I hear tiny house, I generally think of it as being on wheels. But, you know, people are doing shed conversions, people are doing all sorts of things, and it also dabbles on those topics, specifically people doing van conversions, school bus conversions. What this book isn't a sort of a manual to help you build a tiny house. It is merely a way for you to kind of delve deeper into what kind of tiny house might be right for you, and it gets you thinking, most importantly, about things like insuring your tiny house, downsizing for your tiny house. How do you start? You know, that is obviously a huge part of tiny house living, is the minimalism aspect. It's a thing that appeals to people, but it's also, I would say, one of the hardest aspects of tiny house living is really just letting go of a lot of your stuff, being okay with that. Once you do let go of a lot of your stuff, it is so liberating and it is so nice. I highly recommend it. I think Alexis and Christian highly recommend it. While I'm recommending their book, which would make a really nice Christmas present, stocking stuffer, it's available on Amazon, obviously. I will put a link to this book in the description below. But I would be remiss if I didn't spend at least 39 seconds talking about my own books on the topic. I've got The Joy of Tiny House Living, which was my first book. That is a book that does or seeks to do pretty much the same thing that this book does. And then my other book is Building Your Tiny House Dream, which is a more hands-on type book. If you want to get started and you want to build yourself a really small, like sort of gypsy wagon Vardo style tiny house on wheels. So, general book about tiny house living and a how-to hands-on manual for building yourself your own tiny house. I recommend those too. Was that 39 seconds? I might have gone over a little bit. Anyway, Beginner's Guide to Tiny Houses. Great new book from Alexis and Christian. Go check it out. And while you're at it, well, you might as well pick up my books too. I mean, come on, you know, shameless plug. Have yourself a really great and safe holiday season. I will continue to make these videos in 2022. Reach out, drop some comments below. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this. Leave comments about my books if you've read them. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. This is Chris from Tiny Industrial signing off. Take care and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.